You're listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
Here we go again on. Open a drink.
That's a nice sound.
What does that sound represent for you? When you hear that sound, what do you think of?
Cold, refreshing. That, I don't know. I was trying to come up with something and make it something, but I think it's just because I'm hot and I really like the sparkling water. So it represents yummy and cold.
Anybody watching the podcast consistently over the last few months has noticed a shift from our alcohol consumption to sparkling water now. It used to be White Claw. First it was Michelob Ultra that sponsored the podcast and did for like a very, very long time. And then I'd get like 2 or 3
a podcast.
Right? And now it's LaCroix. LaCroix.
Is it LaCroix or LaCroix?
It's LaCroix.
LaCroix?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's LaCroix. I could be wrong.
I could be, not a clue.
I did take 2 years of French in high school.
Did you?
Did you not know that about me?
Well, I know you said you took French in high school, but
there's no signs of it in our
I took
life.
German in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
There's definitely no signs of that.
My point.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I believe I took a semester of Spanish too.
Just one?
Yeah, just one.
Was it called Uno?
You're cute.
You're cute. That was funny.
You are funny.
I have something. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. What
this
do you got?
Thought occurred to me the other day, and I thought, we should do this on the podcast.
Yay.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
I'm going to give you an answer.
Yes.
Is it the right answer?
We're going to call it question and answer.
Q&A with Craig and Steph.
What I want you to do, or what we should do. Not what I want you to do.
There's a lot going into a question here.
Yeah, because it potentially has a lot of potential.
Oh, is it depending on the answer? Because now I'm feeling a little bit of pressure.
Don't feel any pressure.
Like it has potential, but only if I hold up my end.
I was thinking about this the other day. I don't remember what I was doing or whatever. Sometimes you know how you're just driving and your thoughts get drifty and lost into different spots.
I do.
I was thinking about how we have a spiel that we give people.
A spiel?
A spiel.
What? For what?
Like when we meet somebody new or...
We have a spiel?
Not us as a couple.
Oh, I'm
just
like, what is it?
People as people, individuals.
Have a spiel.
Yeah, they have a... Like, this is what they tell people about themselves. Spiel.
Nice to meet
so
you.
When somebody says, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. Or...
Okay. They have their own little elevator speech?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
So I want you to give me yours. Or give us, the people listening.
I don't go out in public very often, so I don't have to have one. So I don't have to participate. I don't participate in public.
You don't participate
I don't, so.
So yeah, that's the question.
And
but I want you to kind of
you want me to come up with
think about it for a minute. Think about the spiel that you've had over the course of your life and try to give me like the most accurate version of what it is today. Like most truthful, most real.
The spiel is the spiels. Like, what is it?
Spiel.
Spiel?
It's a real word.
The spiels are dependent on what situation I'm in.
Right?
Because like when you were at trainings for work, your spiel wasn't about, they don't give a fuck about what you're doing in your personal life. It's where do you work? What's your position? What are you qualifications? Yeah. So that was my spiel when you had to give something. If you're in a like a retreat or something, then it's like who I am, why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what my spiel is. I only know what I would say depending on what situation I was in, because obviously I'm a multifaceted person,
right?
And I wouldn't know what to like, hi. Oh, I got it. I'm a mess. but I'm in therapy. Nice to meet you. I have a big heart. It gets kind of sad. Tell me your hopes and dreams.
Keep going.
No, that's about it.
Like, think about because we get to create that, right? We get to decide what that is. We get to decide our story, in a sense, and how we meet the world at large.
Yeah, I'm very...
So in the most genuine way possible and in the most vulnerable way possible, what would you want that story to be?
What would I want the story to be?
Not necessarily like imaginary.
I like imaginary land. Like, I'll tell you what my story is.
But just like, if you were going to be really truthful, what would it be?
Well, I've only recently started using a lot of the I statements, and I don't know, that didn't really end up going the way I wanted it to go anyway. So I left my bracelets on. I'm sorry. There you go. You won't be hearing that the whole thing.
You're good.
I usually remember not to wear them. I usually just find out about people. Sometimes, I'll give little tidbits of myself, but I'm not... Somebody has to be really close to me for them to get the me. And then I will use like I statements and things about me because I trust them with me. I don't trust everybody with me. I trust them with parts of me, but not with me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really like baffled. Why don't you go first? Same question, Craig.
Sorry. Not going to happen. We're going to let you go.
I did. You're going to let me go? Did I just get fired? Am I fired from the podcast? It has a lot of potential, or you're no longer the co-host?
No, I'm not going to go first. I'm going to make you go.
That was my best. That was my A game. Sorry if it wasn't good enough for you, sir.
Keep going.
I'm Stephanie. My A game is not good enough for my partner. He's like, no, you got to do better than that.
Just in like the most real, this is me.
This is me?
Mm-hmm. Imagine it's somebody that you really care about. Imagine it's somebody that you really want them to know you. Like you really want to show up as yourself and you want to share the truth of who you are in this moment. In this moment?
Okay. So I really care about.
Not in the past, not in the fucking
future.
future.
I'm just like, where am I with this person? What context is happening? Like, do I just walk up? Like, we're at the movie and I'm like, I need to tell you something. I really care about you.
Whatever context you want about it.
So I'm just like, this moment, I am scared. I am awkward, but I am going to keep showing up and having this conversation.
In life.
In life.
Yeah, in this moment in life. Not at this exact fucking moment in 5 minutes.
My brain is not working the way you want it to work. So why don't you give me a fucking example? I'm doing the best I can.
Okay.
This is how I would show up. I need to... You're just going to walk up to somebody that either you don't know or that you care about.
No. This is like somebody genuinely wants to know you and you want to genuinely share with them. So then it's like, how do you introduce yourself? How do you describe who you are as a person? I thought about like all the things that I've described myself as over the years.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I describe myself as a father first. And because I take a lot of pride in being a father. So it's the thing that I kind of want to represent myself as first. But then I thought about the identifier, like, I mean, being a father is important to me, obviously, right? And it matters and it's significant and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, does being a father define myself as define my character? Not really.
No. You're good. You're a good dad, but no, it doesn't define your character.
Yeah.
You're an amazing dad, but it doesn't define your character.
So it's like I'm 40 years old. Yeah, this is a hard question.
It is.
I come from a family of 5. I have 2 older brothers. My parents were divorced when I was 14. I'm the youngest. I said that already. I had 2 older brothers. I got married very young. Met my first wife when I was 19, 18. I think I was 18. No, I was 19 when I met her. Had kids very early. So I was a young father. I was the father of 2 little girls by the time I was 21. I have to do the math in my head. I loved and still do love being a father. That first marriage lasted throughout my 20s and then ended not tumultuously. I guess it's tumultuously. I struggle with describing myself via the jobs that I've had. I've thought more and more about how much I describe myself as I used to be a police officer and how insignificant that is. But yet somehow it's a box that people recognize. It's a thing that people see, and I can almost tell what opinion people have about police officers. So then I can decide how to present that. Like if it's going to be something that they respect and like police officers, then it's a way to gain favor with them. Or if they don't like police, then it's a way to surprise them and shock them, because in no way, shape, or form do I really look the part, or I don't walk the walk or talk the talk anymore. But I don't think that's important.
I don't think you understand your own question.
I definitely don't.
Yeah, you're telling things about father is not who you are. You've been married before. That's not who you are. How long it lasted isn't who you are. Jobs.
Well, it's not necessarily the question, I guess, isn't necessarily who I am.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it is.
What's more important than that?
Right? It is. I mean, who am I?
Who are you?
I'm a guy. I'm a man. I'm a husband. I'm a partner. I'm a dad. I'm kind.
You're kind.
I am loving. I am generous.
Here you go. Now I'm getting to know you.
I am creative.
Very.
I'm optimistic and happy most of the time. I have anxiety and mild depression at times. Sometimes that mild depression is pretty debilitating. I'm coping and managing and interacting with my mental health on a daily basis. I'm excited to be alive. I'm excited for my life and what it holds and what my life is going to bring me or what's going to happen. I'm optimistic and hopeful and excited about the future of this experience that I'm living. My name is Craig. There you go. There's an example.
Yeah, that was good.
Without all the rambling.
Yeah.
So don't do all the rambling. Just go straight to it.
Pretty sure you don't get to just say how I show up as me.
Oh, I get to.
So you can just take your
I'm
no
also
rambling.
bossy.
And that's fact. And shove it. I was realizing at the beginning when I was like, you don't understand your own question. I was like, oh, I can't answer that because I don't know. I don't have that answer.
You're not sure what the question is?
What?
You said...
I said I don't have that answer.
What answer?
Oh my God. Are you high?
I am not.
I think it's time to just move on.
No, I want you to answer this question. Tell me who you are.
So you do understand the conversation that we're in.
Yeah. I'm on the same page.
Jesus.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
What? You're crazy. Okay. I don't have that information. I don't have that. And if I can access it, I can't right now. I don't want to right now.
What do you mean you don't have that information?
I'm still figuring things out. I keep changing. I've changed so much in the last little bit that I'm not anywhere near the person that I was. I think different. I feel different. I behave different. I act different. I react different. I want different things. Everything's different. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know right now.
Do you feel like you're changing like on a monthly basis?
I really wish this could support my face. I want it to be a headrest. I want to put my
I
chin
saw you put your chin on the
a
mic
couple
there.
of times. I want it to I want to rest my face on it. I want it to work so I can just sit here and be like,
should we get you a chin rest?
I just want to hang out like that. I do. That drives you crazy every time, huh?
Well, it's just not the best audio because you talk past the mic if your chin's on it.
Oh, maybe I'll do one here.
There you go.
And then, I don't know. I might fall asleep if I had that. I'd be like...
Do you feel like you're changing that rapidly?
I am changing rapidly. I am changing rapidly. So, are there things about me that are still the same? Yes. But I don't know if they necessarily still fit or if they're just things that I haven't transmuted yet. Or let go of, or maybe, like, I don't know. I'm still finding all the pieces of me. The parts of me that are coming through are also parts that I did have very young that I suppressed. There's a few of those. Excuse me, there's a few of those.
Can you give us an example of one?
No.
Okay.
Fucker.
You don't have to. Can you give me an example?
Can I?
Because we can just pretend that we're not recording a podcast.
No, I was going to tell you, but you just came up with that. So
Sorry.
that felt... No. My sexuality. Who I like... I know that there's more to me than my sexuality, but that's a big part of my life. Mm-hmm. That's a big part of who I am. So that was something that was suppressed that is now like, oh, hi, we are here. And so while that's still a new part of me, that's a new me, it's also an old me. But it's an old me that didn't get to exist.
Yeah.
So that's one of them. And then there's other stuff. It's kind of personal too. Like, it's more personal than my sexuality. So
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I don't have a full understanding of it because things just keep happening and changing and flipping inside, and I'm seeing it more clearly. And it's becoming more pronounced, but I don't have a hold of it yet. So I am not ready to podcast talk about it.
Have you shared that with me?
I have shared it with you.
Okay.
And I will keep sharing it with you.
Okay.
Yeah. These secrets are not secrets from you, and they're not secrets. They're just who gets to see these parts of me.
Do you have secrets from me?
Probably. Let me think. I think there's like no way that I couldn't, right?
Yeah.
But
I think that's okay. I think that's normal, right?
There's nothing on the forefront right now, but there's got to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I got one.
You got one?
Yeah. And I think you know it too, so it embarrasses me. Yeah.
I don't know what it could be.
We'll just keep living that little lie.
Did somebody tell us at some point, like tell us as a couple that we were like transmuters? That like when we came together, we transmuted stuff?
Probably.
It seems like I have that in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Like somebody at some point told us that they like saw us together and saw the capacity and the capability of what we do, and we have the ability to transmute stuff.
Sounds right.
It does sound right. and then we just turn it around and do it to ourselves.
Right.
Right. What does that word mean for you? Transmute.
It's like a shift, like a transformation or a shedding or a freeing. There's so many different ways. It's like maybe it's a building or like I don't know. There's so many different things. Butterflies, coming through. It's just like it can change in so many different ways that it doesn't just have one meaning. It's like it just can shift in so many different ways. Like here's this, and then there's certain layers and it goes through and it can, I don't know. I don't know how to, now I'm getting nervous. I feel like you're asking me a lot of questions.
I am. Don't you remember the beginning? It's called Q&A.
Well, why am I, let me think of a question. Hold on. I got to have a question. Why are you asking me so many questions?
Because it's the Q&A episode.
Okay. I got to come up with a better question. Is this why you're asking the questions? Because I don't have good questions.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
You have great questions.
I do sometimes.
All the time.
I have good questions when I'm in that room over there.
You'll probably have to describe what the hell you're talking about for the people that don't know the layout of our house.
Yeah, well, there's a few of them, and you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
My treatment room. I ask good questions in my treatment room.
Yeah.
But unless I'm in that space, I feel like I fall flat on conversation. If I'm responsible for my conversation, I feel like I can't hold up. But if I'm not responsible for my conversation and it's just like allowing things to flow through me, then I do okay.
Do you identify as a massage therapist?
Do I identify as a massage therapist?
I mean, that's what I mean is when you think about what you do and you think about like not just the services that you offer, but like that space that you hold and the work that you do, how does it like...
It's a part of it. Definitely. It's a big part of it.
But what's the first and foremost thing that you think of when you think about it in your head? Like, how do you describe it to yourself when you think about what you do?
Well, first and foremost, I guess it is massage therapy. It's somatic work because like that's not what's first though. And that's not what I want to be doing the most of. And I love it when it's the other stuff that I get to do. However, I am good at it. I feel it's super important. It's like highly beneficial and I am passionate about it. But it is also safer. Like people will feel more comfortable coming in for a massage and then experiencing the other things that take place. The like different modalities and different energy or light or whatever you want to call it.
Do you have a lot of clients that, obviously come from massage and then eventually they're like, just do some more of that stuff, whatever that stuff is.
Yeah.
Even though they can't really understand what it is or...
Well, they understand because we talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I like that.
I think that's amazing.
I love it when that comes out.
Yeah.
It's like, I say I get to play. I just love it so much.
What do you think was like, looking back at that point in our life where you decided to leave your career and pursue massage therapy? What do you think was like the biggest factor for that? Like the biggest drive for that life-changing decision?
It's something that I've wanted to do for like a long time. A long, long time.
Like before we met?
Before we met, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been in there a long time. I was always the one that was... Shut up.
It's been in there a long time.
Okay.
I think it's done. You can probably take it out now. It's cooked. Sorry. I can't not do that sometimes.
It's a choice, Craig.
It's very much a choice, but it's like a Tourette's thing.
It's not.
Where you're walking along and you're like, oh, that's what she said.
If I was crying right now, would you be like, that's what she said?
Probably. There's probably a good chance that
I love that about you.
I have done that at some point.
Yeah, you have. You're funny. You make me laugh.
So I'm sorry. It's been there for a long time, been inside for a long time, and something that you felt.
Yeah, I was a kid massaging like this will sound creepy because I just heard it, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like I would like massage like my uncle's shoulders and they would call them step massages. Like, oh, she always gives the best massages. And like even like parties that we'd be at, everybody's all drunk and whatever, and I'd be like, oh, will you give me a head massage? And I just naturally did it.
Mm-hmm.
And people that would, it just happened. I liked it. I liked it a lot. There was one incident that made me kind of pull away from that. But I got over that. So there was a thing, and then I wanted to do it, and I looked at different schools, and I finally decided, like, there was like money issues. I'm like, that's too expensive. I'll never be able to do it. And then when I figured out that I would make it work with loans, I was fine too. I was going to go into it. And then I learned that you practice on each other. I was like, wait a minute. I have to get naked on a table and somebody massages me? Like, nope. This is not going to be my. So I didn't do it. So it's been there. It's been there for a long time.
For a long time, huh?
But there's, you know.
Do you remember
also,
your thought process around the time that you switched? Made the change?
I do. I don't remember what was happening, but I remember the moment that it happened. I was destroyed. I was falling apart, and I was broken, and I was crying, and I was feeling, I was just feeling like dying. I was destroyed. I was in the shower, and there was no lights on because I just needed it dark. I was like crying. I was taking a shower. I was on the bottom, just sitting, and the shower was on me, and I was like, I didn't have the strength to stand. I don't remember what it was that hit me at that moment because I only remember what shifted, and I didn't have anything left. I was fucking destroyed, and I didn't want to try anymore either. And then something just shifted, and I stood up. I literally stood up in the shower and was like, I'm going to do things differently. And I decided right there I was quitting and that I was going to massage school. And so it was this break and a healing in the brokenness. And then I found the school and said, this is where I'm going, put in my application. And before I got accepted, I put in my 2 weeks of work. It was very fast. And it was on March 12th. It was my great grandma's birthday, and she was helping me through it. So I quit my job before I even knew that I was in school because I knew I was going to go. Yeah. It was going to work.
And you got one of the last spots for that session,
slot.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. I got the last slot. And, same, the financial aid. I'm like, I don't know. But got it all. It just worked.
Yeah. Do you remember what was that breaking point? What was that moment in the shower? You don't have to talk about it, obviously.
There was a lot of shit going on then. I don't know if you can kind of go back to that time frame.
No, I mean, we've had a lot of shit going on in our life.
There was a lot. There was a lot, and I was tired.
Was it work-related stuff, or was it our personal life stuff?
It was our personal life was
falling apart. Yeah.
And work was definitely a shit show. That environment needs to change, needs to be a healthy environment. It's a shitty job. It doesn't need to be a shitty environment. But then I think just the world caught up with me, it was our relationship. It was my work relationship. It was my past. Everything just caught up with me, and I didn't have anything left. And I was where I was going to start doing things differently. Because I'd been doing it the same way and doing, this is what you're supposed to do. And I didn't have anything left. And so I decided to take it back.
Do you realize how big that is, baby?
I do.
That is so magnificently huge. I told you the other day something along the lines of I'm going to sneeze here in a minute.
I will say, bless
I
you.
can feel it coming. Maybe I won't.
It's because I said bless you.
I told you earlier today or yesterday or something like that, how you're a big deal.
Thank you.
You're a very powerful woman. It was that, that's what it was. It was the thing I told you in, not in bed. You were in bed. You were laying in bed.
Are you trying to not say it on the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I know what you're saying.
Okay.
I remember.
Okay, good.
But hey,
what?
You don't have to tell them. Just tell me. Just this is you and me talking. Just forget they're there.
Yeah. We'll just bleep it out. So that, no, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
But
you got it.
That story that you shared, that experience of just literally being at a breaking point and making a decision to stand up and like not just choose, but like directly go a different direction, right? Like, I'm done. I'm going to do things differently from this point forward. And you did. You changed your whole life in so many different ways. And
it's so scary.
It is so scary. And it's not something that people do. Like, you know, that's the minority of people that do that, not the majority. The majority of people keep breaking. The majority of people keep spinning in all of that chaos and all of those cycles and all of that destruction. I mean, who knows all the imaginary things that we could imagine, right? But that decision that you made, not just to leave dispatch and not just to like pursue massage and your passion and everything like that, but I think from the sounds of it that it wasn't just those things. It was more of like, I'm going to do things differently.
Yeah.
That decision undoubtedly had massive ripples in our relationship. Mm-hmm. And that's huge. That's huge. Do you give yourself credit for where we are at in our relationship today? Like, do you give yourself credit for the fact that you played not just an equal role in the sense, but like a massively huge role in us succeeding as a couple?
Yes.
What was the hesitation?
I didn't want to come off like a jerk. I didn't want to. It's usually you I credit for things, but the fact that I can see, I might definitely credit you in that as well. I'm not like, I'm over here doing all this work. No, it's both of us very much. But it's hard for me to see when I am a positive contribution. I hate admitting that because I hear how shitty that sounds. But I like so much is like because of you, that this is good or that, you know what I mean? So I credit you with it so much, but I do fault me for a lot of things in our relationship, but I do credit me as well. I do. It's both.
It is. We both have.
Do I have balance in something?
You have balance in everything.
What? Hold on. Is that? Am I borderline healthy there? Is that something that I'm like succeeding at? Hold on.
You realize that we're super healthy.
Okay. I got to get a hold of my therapist. So I got to tell her something.
Think about all the people that we're meeting in our life and how we are like the healthy ones. Like we're the ones that have our shit together. We're the ones that are balanced. We're the ones that are like, we like not every single person that we meet. And it's not a judgment on the people that we meet. Like all you train wrecks that we're meeting, that's okay. You can be train wrecks.
If you're like, you're talking about me.
Yes, we are. We're talking about you. You fucking train wreck. No, but we're getting a lot of confirmation of like how good we are doing in a sense with this thing called like life and relationship and everything else, right? And it's us, like it's you and me. Like we have not just done the work, but we are continually in the space of doing the work and committed to it.
Because there's still a lot of work to do.
There is.
There's so much work.
And it's so hard.
It's so hard.
But I think we do bring an equal balance to it.
Do you?
Yeah. Do you not?
I just feel like there's so much to do. I can see how far we've come, and not just like our relationship, but individuals.
Yeah.
Like how far we have come. But yeah, it's like that thing of like the farther we make it, the more we realize. It's like the healthier you get, the more shit you realize you got to clean up. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
There's so much. Like I wasn't looking at that. I didn't think that was an issue. Now I got to work on that. Like, fuck.
There's a lot.
That's what I mean. So
what is another moment in our life, just within the span of our relationship, that decision to suddenly do things differently moving forward, right? That was about halfway into our relationship, give or take.
Was it? Yeah. Was
right?
it?
Maybe a little bit further than halfway. We've been together about 10 years. And that was, I guess, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was 2000. I believe it was 17.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it was 17. Wow.
So, what else in our relationship, over the course of our relationship, do you feel like are some of those big moments where you, it would be really easy. We could do a 4-hour podcast on all of our fuck ups, right? You're like, there was this one moment. And then the next day I did this thing. And then the next week I did this other thing. But what is a big moment shift that you think was, whether it had, because it all, the moves that you've made in regards to your own, like your own balance and your own happiness and your own well-being, have those ripple effects on our relationship, right? Like they have the choices that you make for you that sometimes are regardless of our relationship, right?
Okay.
Because I think that moment of like, I'm going to do things differently, that's a decision that you make or you made about your life. Yeah. You're like, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do things differently moving forward from this point on. And then it just ripples across our relationship, right?
Yeah.
But it was a decision made for yourself.
It was.
And I understand that.
But I had support too.
Yeah.
So I made that decision, and I'm lucky that I had a partner that said, yes, let's do this. So I also had support.
Yeah. This is Daniela in Sacramento. Daniela, if you're listening to the podcast, I'll get back to you when we're done.
Just say hi.
We should totally have her on the podcast. That'd be so funny.
I would love that.
No, I won't do that to her. It should take up the rest of the episode.
I would love that. Oh, you mean...
Yeah, talk to her on the phone.
Yeah, no. Okay, I thought you meant like as a guest. Yeah, you can't do the phone one. Like the support is a big deal, babe. The support is a big deal. I do have another one.
Let's hear it.
But I want to ask you the same question first, so give me one for you.
Nope. Gotta go with your other one.
This is why am I the only... No, I gave you one. Now you give me one.
Oh, I'll give you one.
Do it. Now.
Please. I think that decision that I made after I was fired from law enforcement to not stay in law enforcement, right?
Yes.
I think, and not just not stay in law enforcement, but also not get a job.
Yeah.
I think that was a big moment that had massive ripple effects.
It did.
In a positive way. At the time, did not feel that way. At the time, it wasn't some glorious empowering moment of like,
no,
I'm going to pick myself up off the floor of the shower and move forward in my life in a completely different way. It was a fucking train wreck. And I felt so weak and pathetic and selfish and stupid. But there was like some part of me, if you listen to the podcast, I've talked ad nauseum about getting fired. I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast. There's another podcast, Shooting the Shit with Jess, that you can find everywhere. If you go to our Instagram, you'll see it. But I talk about when I got fired quite extensively in that. And that time period was very hard for us, obviously, because it was such a massive change. And I remember after it was all said and done, trying to decide what to do next. And there were other agencies, other police departments that I could have gone and worked for.
I had some approach me. about you, trying to get you on.
There was a lot of opportunity to still remain in law enforcement, and it would have been very easy to do so.
Would have been.
But I didn't, and it was a conscious choice. It was like this decision of like, I'm not going to do that. And I remember, because there's like twofold, right? You get fired from being a cop, and you have to be certified through a governing body that usually is the state that you work for. And it's a post-certification, which is like police officer standards and training. And my post-certification was also being called up for basically potentially getting my post-certification revoked. And I got notification, and I had to essentially go through the process of defending my post-certification and my right to be a police officer and blah, 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 blah. And I chose not to. I chose not to do that. It was like just more and more of these decisions of like, I am not going to be in law enforcement. Not only am I not going to go to another agency, but I'm also not going to try to uphold my post-certification.
You started before you got fired, because that was going on with your job where you had the opportunity to defend and like try and keep, and you didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
You were just like, you just let it all go.
I did. But it's weird because looking back now, thinking about that time period, it wasn't there had to obviously have been some magic universal stuff in the works, because it didn't feel like powerful. It didn't feel like a knowingness. It didn't feel like, it just felt like fucking shit. It just felt horrible. And then when everything was said and done and it was finally over, then it was like, well, what am I going to do now? And that also was like a very conscious decision of like, I'm not going to go get a job. I'm not going to go get a job. I'm not going to go apply for some 9-to-5 job or work at some warehouse and drive a forklift and unload trailers or something, right? And that was really hard. But there was some part of me that like just had this, that part of it, I think after the smoke had cleared a little bit, I think I had some knowingness of like, don't do that. That would go against like not who you are, but like what I was feeling at the time. Like I felt so strongly that it was like, I believe that the universe will show up in some way and this thing will work. I don't need to go get a job. And here we are, 5 years later, 6 years later, right? And obviously I have a job that I make money at, and we pay bills and, buy LaCroix, but it's not a regular 9-to-5 job. And I haven't filled out an application since the one that I filled out to become a police officer.
Wow.
I haven't filled out a job application since then. So that's nice. I like that.
It's very cool.
It's much more in line with who I am.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was ever made for jobs.
I don't think you were.
Because I'm not very good at listening to people tell me what to do. Every job I ever quit was because somebody said, hey, Craig, stop doing that and do this. You should probably not do that and do it this way. I'd be like, fuck you. Don't tell me what to do. I'm out of here. So
that's funny.
That's
true.
I definitely have that. It's not a fault. It's a fucking powerful trait.
It's a short. How do I say something?
Usually it is words that come
I'm trying to give
mouth.
you a compliment, so you might want to let this thought flesh through, mister. You see through a lot of shit. You see through a lot of shit.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
I think I got a pretty good bullshit meter.
Sometimes I have to point out that it's bullshit.
That I'm seeing through my own bullshit.
Oh no. Like other situations, there's been a couple of times where I've been like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
But
you're so good at that for me.
Thank you. But you seem to do just fine before I came along, getting out of the bullshit.
Boy, I don't know.
No, you're really good at that. You'll catch things and just be like, this doesn't, and you're not afraid to change your life. And sometimes, like most of the time, I admire that. And sometimes I'm like, fuck again. Like it's hard. But if I had to choose, I would always want you to be able to do that. You know?
Yeah.
Do what feels right.
What's the other, you said you had another one that came to mind. I swear to God, if you fucking forgot it.
I didn't forget it. I just don't know if I want to say it.
Well, now we're just going to sit in awkward silence.
Fine.
While Barb waits for you to speak.
What situation did we have? There was something I'm like, is that Barb? Remember? There was something that came up. I was
Somebody
like, what if
that
that's
commented
Barb?
or...
Was it a Barb?
I think it was when we did the contest for Brandy that there was a Barb that...
Was there a Barb? And I was like,
Who
what
knows?
if that's Barb? Or something.
Yeah,
I
we've
don't
got a
remember.
number one fan, Barb. We don't talk about her as much as we used to because she's imaginary.
Right.
What's the other thing that you feel like was a big defining moment?
When I went on that retreat.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. That was a big moment.
That was a big moment.
That was one that I think was 100% for you.
Yeah.
But had such massive ripple effects for us and for our life and for our children.
Yeah, it did, actually. All of that.
Yeah.
It's cool. That's very cool.
Do you think there's more coming?
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think is going on in our life right now that we'll look at, 5 years from now and be like, that was one of those moments?
Oh, I don't know, because, I don't know. You got one?
Therapy.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. That's how I started this one. I'm like, I'm a mess, but I'm in therapy.
Yeah. 2021, we'll look back and be like, hey, you remember that time period where we decided to like legitimately get therapists and take our mental health seriously and start actually healing the fucking trauma that we have? Yeah. That was a fucking moment when everything changed.
Yeah. We had to get some badass. I don't even know what to call them. Like warrior. I don't know. I don't even know what to call them. Mine's a witchy woman. It's like, but we had to get not just like Psychology Today searching through. We had to get some fucking warriors for us.
Well, they were brought to us.
They actually were brought to us.
Know.
They actually were. That's a whole other story. But just regular, like sitting in a couch, not negating that. Therapy is important, but we had to, our level of fucked upness needed some really deep therapy, hardcore therapist.
But we're going to feel the ripple effects of this for a very long time.
Probably, yeah. Do you agree with my input on our therapist, the way I describe them? Because you're kind of like just in there.
I mean, I agree, and it's not that I disagree.
Yeah.
I just don't place that much. I mean, at the end of the day, do I think that, like, I'll speak about mine.
Yeah.
Even though I know we've talked a lot about therapy, but there's a portion of it that we haven't talked about a lot. And maybe we need to. Maybe
we do. Are you talking about like you and I?
Yeah.
Then yes, we apparently need to.
Well, before we get to that,
if there's this big unknown,
like I really like my therapist.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a really good guy. Him and I really connect. But do I think he's some magical warrior that, is helping me through the trenches? In some ways.
Yeah.
But he's just a guy. That's the beauty of it for me too, is like, he's just a guy. He's just a guy that is really good at what he does.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that the reason him and I work so well together is because we blend together so well.
Yeah.
And that's important. I think it's important to not just like your therapist, but feel safe with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel safe with him. And so, but he's just human to me.
He's just human to you?
Yeah. And I think he has
Do you want to see my therapist too?
I think he has some superhero qualities.
Yeah.
And I think he's definitely one of those guys that will stand in the storm of things, right?
Yeah. He's a good guy.
Yeah. But at the same time, he's just a guy. He's just a dude. And I like that about him.
I like that.
Yeah. Him and I are very different too.
Yeah.
We have super different energy.
Me too.
I think about that sometimes where I'm like, because he feels significantly different than I feel.
Yes.
And so sometimes it's like, you know how energy, sometimes like the highest vibration in the room will kind of bring everybody up to that highest vibration.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes in our sessions, he always wins out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always end up at his vibration.
Yeah.
I don't bring him up to mine. And that's a good thing because that means that he's doing his job.
Yeah.
Because if it was me always trying to be like, it's making it sound like I'm super fucking hyper, but I'm a high energy guy and I have a different, he's very calming energy. I'm calming energy too, but
you do have a very calming energy, but when you're in the space of working on yourself and looking at your own things,
mm-hmm.
it's not a calm energy.
Nah.
That's a little different.
It's a little combative. There's a little bit of fight in there.
A little bit
of fight or flight.
Well, you want to talk about me? Let's talk.
Yeah, and he's very chill.
Yeah.
And so it helps a lot because he kind of just sits there while I fight and flight. And then he's like, okay, well, have you thought about this? There's so many times where he'll like give me a poem.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, here, I want to read this for you. I read this to you. And then it's like some, quote or poem or something like that. And it's got like the opposite effect of what I want in the moment. I'm like, that's not fucking helping me ramp up. That's slowing me down and making me think, motherfucker. But do you want to talk about what we're doing on the 7th?
Yeah. Okay.
Should we give them? You don't.
Well, I was just not there. I was thinking, what? Oh, you pulled up a 7. How about that? 7 of diamonds. Mine's a human too.
You're a therapist.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at, because I've tried therapy a few times and I've never had somebody like this. So I guess it's important, like if you don't have a match, keep looking. Like you don't have to stick it out with a therapist that doesn't work for you.
Right.
Like don't stick it out with a therapist if they don't work for you. Keep looking. Find your person. But so yes. But
yes,
I don't
what?
know. Like
that she's human?
You're like, he's just a guy, and I'm like, I see that. Like just a person. Just a person. Just a human. But to me is different. Like I know that she's a person and a human, and I know that it's not, I don't know. She's different for me. She's different for me. And like she saved my life. So she's very special to me. She's very, very, very special. And I see her as a person, as a real person with feelings and ups and downs and all of that. And I wish that I could be there for her too. But that dynamic, she's good at it. So, I care about her greatly. And I see her for that just magnificent power that she has. And I'm so grateful that she's in my life. I'm so, so grateful.
Yeah, I'm grateful too. We've both worked with each other's therapists.
Yes.
Individually, separately. Kind of.
How many people right now you think are going like, what? What the?
I know, but we've talked about it, haven't we?
I don't think so.
I feel like I have.
You might have.
But I don't think it was
I haven't.
Do you want to?
I don't know.
Okay, well, then we'll fucking maybe not talk about it.
Well, we've never said names. We just always have to make sure we never say names.
Well, we don't name our therapists.
Yeah.
Just out of respect for them.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like they want to be talked about on our podcast.
Yeah.
And we don't have to name them.
Yeah. I just get nervous about...
I know, you're so cute. I love how you get nervous about that.
Well, whatever.
Because we're just talking on a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just talking on a podcast, it's putting it out there, and then we have our information, and then if like I don't want to cause problems.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. So I get nervous. I do get nervous. We can talk parts of it. We just don't have to give all of it. And I don't know. Maybe one day I'll want to. I do want to. I want to talk about it, but I also don't.
I think it would be massively important to talk about, or is important to talk about, only as a way to, as always, like shed light on, like, so that people listening don't feel alone, and that like the validity of the type of therapy and the importance of it, and like it's removing the asinine fucking stigma surrounding not just therapy, but all sorts of things. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And how important that is.
Okay.
And think about the movie that we watched this morning. Fantastic Fungi.
Yeah.
Is now available on Netflix.
Okay.
So.
We can talk.
Well, the podcast is almost over. Maybe we'll talk about it.
You just fucking wrapped me up and got me there. Jesus Christ.
I think I've mentioned it before.
I think you have to. Whatever. I'm done. Podcast out. That was a roll.
I'm so sorry.
You got me there, and then like that is called fucking with my emotions.
No, baby. It's called... oh, shoot. What is it called? It's called edging.
That's not edging. Edging's fun.
Get you there.
No.
Almost.
Edging's fun.
And then bring it down.
That wasn't fun. I'm nauseous.
Oh, no.
Edging doesn't make me nauseous. That did.
We are both not just in therapy. Obviously, we're in therapy, but we are doing.
Are you going to talk about it now?
Yeah. Why not?
Have you been?
Seven of Diamonds again.
Oh my God, you're confusing me. You're confusing me. You just said we. Oh my God.
I'm a little all over the place today.
You're a lot all over.
Today's a weird day for me.
Okay, that's okay. It's supposed to only be weird for Capricorns, but that's okay. You got this.
I don't even know what the fuck a Capricorn is. Do you?
Yes, it's like a zodiac.
I know that it's a zodiac, but what is an actual Capricorn?
A ram.
A ram.
Yeah, a ram.
Oh, okay. I'm a little rammy.
It's like December 23rd to something like that.
Sometime in January.
End of December to the like in the 20s from December. I can't remember the exact date, but it's like December 22nd, I think, to January 20th or something like that. Close. I don't know if that's exact, but that's the Capricorn time.
Yeah. So we are doing MDMA therapy with our therapists. And our therapists work together in these sessions because ideally... Sometimes. Ideally, you have two facilitators during that type of therapy. It's incredibly beneficial and helpful and kind of how it should be done. And that's what we do. So we've each had some sessions with each other's therapists in that setting. And it's really neat. I think it's really unique that somehow we managed to like manifest that type of therapy, not just that, but also those type of therapists into our life. And coming up in a very short time on, we probably don't need to give the date.
No.
I think we already did, though.
You did.
Oh, well. Anyways, in the future, Stephanie and I are going to be doing a session together with our therapists. So that's going to be very interesting and will probably be talked about on the podcast at some later date.
Maybe.
And we'll definitely talk about it on the podcast at some point.
Maybe.
5 years from now. We'll be like, hey, you remember that time period?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Watch me be stubborn now. No. You gonna be so sure?
We've also started microdosing with psilocybin, and we also manage a lot of our anxiety with marijuana. And it's really, really, really beneficial and helpful, wouldn't you say? Starting to heal so many different things.
Think release trauma.
Yeah.
Ease panic attacks. I'm super uncomfortable right now. I feel like I'm way too vulnerable.
I know. We're not going to go into it much more.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It'll be an ongoing thing, as always, that we continually drop in and talk about on the podcast. I had my buddy John call me this week, and we talked about a lot of different things, but he asked about it because I told him about it. So he asked me like what it was like. And he was curious because of how much like quote unquote emotional work I've done over the last few years, and like dropping into really deep emotional things and kind of processing a lot of stuff. And the way that I described to him the difference between kind of the work that I have done versus the session on MDMA is just the lack of filters and not having, because when I was in that session with our therapists, Jack and Jill, I could feel, because they were like kind of asking me some questions as the session kind of started to get going, and as I was starting to feel the effects of what I was experiencing, and I could feel like they would ask me a question and I immediately had an answer for it, but I wouldn't respond with that answer. I would respond with something different, or I would kind of like steer the conversation in another direction, or I would say something else instead of the answer or the thing that, so they ask me a question and immediately I have some sort of response to it, but I would filter that response. And it was a very interesting effect of like first acknowledging that I had that filter, and then like feeling that filter slowly dissolve, and then just speaking super freely. And it was like this really open place of being able to communicate what I was thinking and what I was feeling, and these thoughts that were coming to me, and this experience of what I was going through was completely unfiltered. And it felt like, now speaking about it, I have all those same filters, and I'm like, it was a fucking mistake. You failed. Fucking mistake. Burn the house. It was terrible. Because I feel very silly and embarrassed because I spoke without filters and so freely. But during it, it was very liberating and wonderful and safe, and it was beautiful. And I was able to uncover quite a few things through that process. So for me, at least, that experience was like that. And I'm anxious about our session, because my hope is that those filters will do the same thing. They will dissolve. And then I will be able to speak freely. But we'll see.
We'll see.
To be determined.
Yeah.
TBD.
TBD.
So, anything else you want to say?
Nope.
And that's a wrap, folks. Tune in next week for another who knows fucking episode of the podcast, and what else we uncover and or discover and or share. I love you so much, baby.
I love you too.